Welcome to Coffee Confessions Season 2. Today we're going to be discussing entrepreneurship.
And some people are lucky, they come in with dad's money or they come in with another company's money, etc. And they can do it at the beginning and they get the arrogance and then it later comes out.
From that moment of restart to finally starting, it was a process of 1 year.
Working with your dad, I mean, you have to switch between dad and boss at home. So this is always a tricky one.
People have come to me and say, we can see a twinkle in your eyes. Yeah, it's like a light bulb.
What has been your biggest struggle adapting into the business?
Okay, so when I came into the business, we were doing quite a few things. We were a 50-man company, and today we are 250 people on board. So it was really a matter of expanding the business into what we do now, and to be able to do that with delivering consistent quality and meeting the client expectations. I think these were the key struggles.
Now, you went from a regular job into a business. What do you think is the biggest misconception people have about owning their own businesses that you should maybe discuss?
What I've heard from people, like some people will come up and say, oh, you're so lucky you get to choose your own time. And yes, but I get to choose like from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., like to midnight versus 8 to 11 at night. You know what I mean? You're going to work pretty much a lot more than a corporate role, no matter what you do. No matter how dedicated you feel you are to corporate, when you own your own business, you're going to be working harder and more hours. You may enjoy it more, but it's a lot of work. So you always hear people go like, oh, that's so good. You got flexible hours. You're so lucky. And you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know if like getting up at 3 a.m. to quickly write an email out is flexible hours. Yeah, it could be 3 or 4 a.m., but still, you know what I mean? So that's one of the misconceptions I always hear.
So do you think, what is, according to you, the biggest misconception?
I think the biggest misconception is that, you do have easier hours. You get to choose what you do. You enjoy a lot more what you do. Certain aspects of the business, it's true that you might enjoy it more than working at a corporate job.
So how has owning a business affected your friendships and social life?
I think when you own a business, the best way to say it might be that you make a list of friends that you had when you started the business. Then you take it, you look at that list again a few years down the line, and you see that it's probably reduced quite a bit. I mean, you also do tend to make friends in the process, so you might be making new friends, but certain friends do fall out because they simply cannot get as much time as they did with you. So I think it's a matter of your priorities being more with the business, making sure the business is growing, making sure it's getting where you want, or friendships that might take a back seat at that stage.
Dunia, according to you, do you think friendships take a back seat when business comes in?
I mean, there's an element of that, but I think one of the main things I've learned is there was a saying when I was growing up, if you want to know who your true friend is, travel with them, right? And you get to see a completely different side. And I've rephrased that, and I'm like, if you want to know who your true friends are, start a business.
Exactly.
Because it's not about losing friends, it's about knowing who really are your friends. And bless them, some people are very great people, but they're not there to support you through your business. And when you launch a startup from scratch, and you leave your corporate career and you leave your amazing titles, it really gets people to rephrase who you are. Like they'll redefine who you are to them. So I think it's realizing who your real friends are.
So Anand, do you ever consider just getting a job when you're frustrated with your business?
Yeah, there are times. I mean, you have days where you think that, okay, you might just as well leave this behind, go in a cozy job, let your boss do all the worrying about. But I think when you do speak to some of these employees as such, they also tend to feel, they also have their frustrations. So it's a matter of choosing your priorities. You want to decide whether you want to keep building your brand and whether you think you can take it to the next level.
Do you have something to add to that, Dunia?
I mean, I'll just say being an entrepreneur or running your own business is not easy. It's really tough. And as he alluded to, there are moments that are really, really low, and you do get moments where you're like, I want to get out of this. And that's where it helps to have partners around you or employees that are in positions to help you up the next day. Because there's a perception that being your own business owner is glamorous. And it means you're going to be driving those fancy cars and sitting in these expensive restaurants and enjoying life. But the reality is that comes way later down the line. And the first few years, you are like, they're the most, and I say this over and over again in many situations, they're the most demeaning years of your life. Especially if you've come from a cushiony job. Because you end up from like starting from the bottom, you know, you've got no name to show on a business card. You've got like, and it's really tough. It's really, really tough. I mean, as much, I don't know how many times I said the word tough today, but it's really tough. And people don't realize that. So there are many that fail because of the toughness, not because of the struggle of the business working.
Okay.
It's the toughness of coping with the fact that it's all on you.
Do you think a lot of it is because of the social media portrayal of owning a business?
Yeah.
You live like a rap star?
Yeah.
So.
Have you watched Hollywood recently? Right? Anybody that owns their own business, their doors always open like this versus like that. But I mean, no, dude, no. What would be your top 3 tips to business owners who are going to start up now?
I'll just say start it for the right reasons. Start it for the right reasons. Don't start it because you watched Hollywood movies. Don't start it because you want that glamorous life. It's not going to happen. If you're starting it just to make quick money, it's not going to happen. Unless you're like in real estate and you're going to buy a couple of apartments and sell them 2 years later. But that's not a business. If you want to be entrepreneur properly, own a business properly and work hard, do it for the right reasons. Do it knowing you're going to have tough days. That's essential. The other thing I'd say is support yourself with people that, like, surround yourself with people that can support you. You definitely need that because, like we mentioned, you're going to have down days, and if you're on your own, they're only going to get worse. And I think my third one, this is my own branded one. I say cash, which to me means be confident, be assertive, be smart, but most of all, be humble.
Oh, wow.
So that's my thing.
That's really brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anand, so your top 3 tips to anyone going to start up?
Yeah, so I think the first would be to understand what you're going to do your research well. I mean, if it's a product that's already there or it's a service that's already there, how you're going to add value to that and not just become another competitor in the market. So you really want to know how you're going to stand out and put yourself ahead of what's already existing. The second would be to then focus on that product and goal and not to diversify too soon. When you start a business and you start doing things, the ideas keep coming up, but you want to go back to your book that you created at the beginning and say, this is what I wanted to do, and you want to refocus on that and say that, okay, let me get this right and then diversify. So you want to not be diversifying too soon. And I guess also making sure that you know how you're going to manage your finances is very important, especially in a place like Dubai. I mean, you're very liable to the decisions you make. They're going to hold you accountable if you don't get it right. So you want to make sure that your money is managed well.
Was there an incident that happened that made you shift from a job to your business and passion? Or was it something gradual?
You know, I think in life we all reach a position somewhere or the other when we get too comfortable in our own environment where we know, it's like, you know, how in a husband-wife relationship, over a certain years, you just know each other too well. You know your trigger points, you know your off points very well. I think I was on a very similar stage when it came to my career where I knew it all because I was at the peak of my career when it comes to buying. It would have not been a bigger jump than that. Yes, it was very, very exciting because you were buying for more than $30 million in a year. You had an army of 35 buyers and merchandisers working with you. But then somewhere down the line, the quest to self-discovery was not being answered. Okay. That's where I think that whole urge to kind of reinvent and come back is what pushed me. And I think my partner played a very, very important role in pushing me harder and said, you know what, now take a break, start on your own thing. And it was not an easy task because I was already in the field of fashion and buying and retail. Right. And then starting my own brand would have been a conflict of interest. Right. So I kind of took a break of a sabbatical, went to London, did my further studies, shifted gears, came back, joined something else so that I can parallelly guilt-free pursue my dream project, which is Spirey.
What do you think is the biggest misconception people have about owning a business now that you own one?
That you always have to be on toes, that you always have to be running and doing stuff by own, that everything is on your shoulder. I don't think so. I feel very light while running my business.
Yeah, that's great. Refreshing to hear that. Yeah. And is it true that you struggle with friendships once you start your business? Have you had a lot of,
Your social circle, has it changed?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I did not struggle with any of. I did not expected my friends to help me in business. I kept that separate.
Right.
I never called my friends to, how can you help me in the business? I had my contacts from my own professional network.
Right.
So I went for meetings with them. So I think that when that clarity and that differentiation was there, nothing changed.
So your expectations were not there?
Not there, no, not at all.
Okay. I heard you smirking. Tell me.
50-50. Because I think I'm from a field which itself is, is entertainment, it's media, it's retail, it's fashion. So, and as they say that in fashion, you have to be naughty, you have to be catty, you have to be bitchy. So I think that's probably a part of the industry. But yes, that way, as I said earlier, God has been kind, and I completely agree to her testimony where she said that I did not mix business and friendships.
Vibhuti, your top 3 tips for entrepreneurs.
I think the top most would be having absolute clarity with why you're starting the business. And I keep going back and forth on the same point because it's really important. It's very easy to deviate, and it's easy to just say, okay, I'm passionate about this, I want to start this business. And I've seen people doing that. That you're just passionate, you have that urge that, oh, I like this thing, let's start this business. And then after a couple of months, you fall flat on that. So if you're clear on why you're doing it, it will have a longer run in whatever you're doing. Second thing would be not going with the rat race, not following what all other competitors are doing, having your parameters clear, having your budgets clear. Your strategy is your strategy. You can't just copy things of what others are doing. And the third thing is staying within your parameters, not just following what others are doing. Like, for example, if you have a booth in an exhibition, you have to decide what size of the booth you're taking. Just because your competitors are taking a 9-meter square booth, you don't have to follow that. Because you have that feeling, oh, I'll feel small in that exhibition if they are taking a bigger booth. But it's not about that. It's about what is your budget, where you are, it's your journey. So stick to your journey. That's
Stay
all.
truthful.
Yeah, stay truthful.
Thank you so much for sharing. Priyanka, tell us the 3 don'ts of being an entrepreneur.
Don't try and be someone else. Please stay what you are, and it may take a longer period as compared to what you feel others are going in terms of pace, but stay within your lines, stay true to yourself, and things will fall in place. Point number 1. Point number 2 would be do not give up on the willingness to learn. Be a student. Remain a student no matter what stage or what age you're reaching in your business, because every day is a new day. Every day will bring in a new challenge, and you have to be willing to unlearn something that was probably working in the past and relearn something that you quickly probably need to adapt yourself. Third, have a good appetite towards criticism. It's very, very important.
Are you really going to show this? Are you serious?
Hi, Vibhuti.
Hi,
Welcome to
Zareen.
the show.
Sorry.
No, we'll do it again.
Yeah, especially when you go home and you're with the rest of the family, then you need to put on another face.
You
And
don't have that confidence.